Carving magic, the Ed Gein story. Sorry. I promise I'll try not to get too dark with this one. I put a wishbone on a handle. I don't get that. We now return to a Charlie Brown Thanksgiving.
We would have had you over sooner.
But we don't like you.
Joe's been so busy at the studio lately. But all he does every night is come home and fall into bed.
Yeah, and probably making so much money he needs a truck to get it to the bank. By the way, where did he disappear to?
He's in the kitchen. He'll be right in. Al, take your usual place in Gloria. Mary, it's beautiful. The table, I mean.
I wouldn't want you to think I was talking about your outfit.
Or something? Thank you. No anniversary. But it is a special occasion. You see, Joe has learned.
Mary, don't tell him a thing.
Let's just say that's not turkey.
They'll find out for themselves.
Ugh.
All right. Everybody ready? No. Wait a minute. Some kind of a gag.
It's a fake birthday, judging by the candles.
It's not an anniversary, but it is a special occasion. Now, we have to find out for ourselves.
You know, with that haircut, it's a shame Harvey Korman never played Norman Osborn.
I got it. You're going to try carving a turkey again. Oh, now hold everything, will you, Joe? Now, don't start carving that beautiful turkey yet, please. I got to go get my camera. You know, I always swore if we had pictures of you the last time you tried carving a turkey, we'd have made a mint selling them for a TV comedy.
It would still have more episodes than the Nut House, Harv.
Oh, I wouldn't hurt you for the world, you know that, Joe, but honest, watching you carve is...
Somewhere a young Tim Conway must have made his first ad lib. A man and two women laughing at my performance. Oh, I'm having a flashback to when I lost my virginity yesterday.
Al, I just decided to give you a special treat. Now, I was going to let you watch from the other end of the table. But for you, seeing as how you're my very special friend, and because you get such a kick out of watching me carve, I'm going to give you a special performance. Now, would you step right over here, please?
Wait a minute. You're acting like the tables have
I want
turned.
you to watch very close. Gloria? Mary?
Ow! Just sever the connective tissue there. Good. I'm sorry, son. The leg will have to come off. Then we're going to cut it in half just to spite you. By the way, we named the bird HARVEY KORMAN. So the entire party is just a humble brag for Jerkzilla here? My man, I think I'll keep him. What she doesn't know is I'm having an affair with him. I like to imagine this is that fat pig I work for. Squeal, turkey, squeal. Damn it, why isn't this a ham?
Would you mind going to your place, Al? Or are you going to stand there staring all night?
Those cards in their breast pockets have their lines printed on them.
Where did you learn to carve like that? You been taking lessons or something? From Martha Logan.
Martha!
Martha Logan?
How do you know that
You mean
name?
the home economist for Swift? Oh, no wonder. She's an authority on meat. But how did you get to meet her? We're making a TV film for them over at the studio. And the minute I saw what it was all about, I made up my mind to really learn all about carving.
She started me on a
During
jack-o'-lantern.
camera rehearsals, I got a chance to talk to her. Excuse me, Miss Logan. Say, tell me, you think a guy like me could learn how to carve anything like you do?
Of course. And why not? It's not magic, you know.
I feel lied to.
Sure looks like it the way you do it. And to learn how to do it with all these different meats.
It's not nearly as complicated as you might think. Really, all you have to learn is a few different methods.
Cut,
Here,
back to
I'll
one.
tell you what I mean. Spread out on the table here are more than 20 different cuts of meat, if you include the turkey and chicken.
But I'm not poor, so I
now,
don't.
you notice that we have them grouped.
Meat segregation?
If you learn to
Shameful.
carve any one piece in each group, you can handle everything else in that group. You watch during rehearsals and you'll see what I mean.
She needs to rehearse cutting
Leg
meat,
of lamb,
really.
whole ham, and the picnic shoulder are carved exactly alike. You'll see how most of these are carved during camera rehearsals and when we photograph them. The only real difference between carving a whole ham and carving either the butt or
Ooh,
shank end
can they
cut
say that?
is that these are placed with the cut surface down. The actual cutting is the same.
They keep production costs low by not buying plates. Just green slabs
This
of
group
Play-Doh.
includes all steaks. And the only thing to remember about steaks
Is
that
to
with all
refrigerate them, for the
bones
love of
removed,
God.
care should be taken to cut each muscle into equal pieces so everyone will get a serving from each section, where they vary in tenderness.
Alright, I'm just gonna say it. The ham steak is not a steak.
And for these boneless cuts of meat, just make sure that all carving is done at right angles to the meat grain. That way, all servings are more tender and tasty. Any pot roast cut is the same once the bones are removed. The only thing to remember is that all cutting should be across the grain or fibers of the meat.
I didn't know there was fiber in my meat. Why, I've been eating healthy all these years. Who knew?
Loin of pork and lamb ribs, sometimes called a rack of lamb, are carved exactly the same by cutting between the ribs. The standing rib roast is done differently, but easily. If you turn it onto the cut surface with the rib bones to the left, then carve horizontally.
Then put it on the Flintstones car and stand
of course,
back.
The best possible example of this idea of learning to carve by meat groups is turkey and chicken.
The poor
Or poultry,
meats.
for that matter. Do you see how it works?
Well, it sure sounds easy the way you tell it. But turkey?
They give you trouble?
Trouble? I'll never forget the one I tried to carve for our first Thanksgiving dinner. A kid could have done better pulling it apart with his hands.
Well, you just watch what I do during rehearsals and when we make the pictures. You'll learn.
I mean, I guess anything is possible.
Well, I hope so. One of the first shots they made was on carving a leg of lamb. Do you know that carving a leg of lamb is exactly the same as carving a whole ham? The first step is to cut off 3 or 4 slices from the side opposite the cushion.
You need biceps like bowling balls for this. Now here's something Jabba the Hutt once coughed up.
This
And
can be located by the H-bone, the flat bone in the butt end which slants towards this meaty section. Now, cutting off these slices makes a flat surface for the roast to stand on while you're carving. Now, with the roast standing upright, you make sure the shank is to your right, if you're right-handed. A left-handed carver would put it the other way.
Larry, please, we're starving. Would you just
Then
serve
you
the
make
turkey?
A series of perpendicular cuts right down to the bone, using firm strokes with a sharp knife. And when you've got as many slices as you want, you lay your carving knife flat and cut along the leg bone at the bottom of your slices.
And don't be afraid to use a fade cut if you screw it up.
You end up with a series of horseshoe-shaped slices just as neat and pretty as you could want. And this method of carving is the same for ham and lamb,
Or clam.
for roast fresh ham, and roast leg of veal. Now, once you've learned to carve one, you've learned how to carve everything in the group. I guess we all learned something making that movie, because Martha Logan even had to show the director how the different cuts went so he could figure his camera angles.
She's also an editor?
In carving
Because
a
cuts
ham
can
butt
mean...
piece,
Oh,
you
never
place
mind.
the half ham upright with the cut surface down. Make sure the bone end and the wedge-shaped bone is on your left. Then slice parallel to the platter, to the round bone.
Oh my God! The doctor, the anesthesia isn't working. I can feel everything.
You cut several slices, and then make a vertical cut close to the round bone to free the slices. Well, really, it's the same as you do when you carve a whole ham, except that you're slicing horizontally instead of vertically.
Enough of your scientific terms, Professor.
The shank piece is practically the same, except that it's easier to cut the meaty cushion free from the bone first.
Yeah, I like a nice
Then
meaty
slice
cushion
it
too, if
into
you know what I
as many
mean.
servings as you want. The next group she showed us how to carve were the loin roasts.
Oh my!
A roast loin of pork in this case. A carving is simply a matter of cutting between the ribs and serving the chop. The carving is easy if you have the backbone cut free when you buy the roast.
My wife removed
Leave the
my
backbone in
backbone
place
years
for roast.
ago.
Then remove it before putting the roast in the platter. Lamb ribs are roasted and carved the same way. And a standing rib roast of beef also is the same, except you make your cuts horizontally instead of vertically.
Damn it, I ain't got time for your scientific know-how. That rack of lamb is about to destroy all of Mobile, Alabama.
You know, I think this part about steaks is just about the most interesting part of it all. You know, up until now, I never thought about steaks as being part of carving. I always thought you just cut it.
I know. That's what most people think.
And they're right.
But if you remember what I just showed you, always cut the bone out first with a short-pointed knife.
Serve it immediately
Then,
to Curly
bending
Howard.
the knife at an angle, cut the tenderloin. That's the smaller piece. Into as many slices as there are people to be served.
One slice? I have no friends.
Then, cut the sirloin strip and the flank piece into the same number of slices. That way, all your servings will be the same. Everyone will be served equal amounts of each part of the steak. If you use this same principle for all steaks, you'll find that people will really enjoy having steak at your house.
Curtains provided by
Boy,
Target.
Is my wife going to be happy when she finds out I'm learning how to carve? What's next, Miss Logan?
You know, I do have to get home at some point.
We're going to demonstrate how to carve a blade bone pot roast first.
She really
With a
enunciated.
blade bone roast, the first step is to remove the bone. Both the blade bone and the small piece of backbone.
Continue, Miss Logan. I'm
Next step
fascinated.
is to separate the various muscles, or sections of meat, where they divide naturally.
Muscles, but that means, oh my God, it's people.
With the muscles separated, it's easy to see which way the grain runs in each section. And it's important to carve across the grain, turning this section, if necessary, to make it easy to get nice, even cross-grain slices.
Oh, it's grain? I apologize. Meat is not people. It's a vegetable. This must be that Beyond crap the hippies are always going on about. If this is meant to be food porn, then I'm going to become a food celibate.
But since the part along the backbone is the most tender, always make sure everyone gets an equal portion of it.
Look, just some cabbage or one carrot. That's all I'm asking.
Having round bone pot roast is about the same, except that you don't have to remove the one round bone out in the kitchen before you serve it.
Wait, he did the carving, but she's wearing the apron?
That's how it is, Al, my boy. You're now looking at an expert carver.
You mean you can carve all those different meats the way you carved that turkey tonight?
Just about.
Schmuck.
Well, would it be too much trouble?
Can we lock down the camera,
I mean,
please?
Would you teach me how?
I sure will. But right now, I can even do better.
Well, how do you mean?
Well, I figured you'd want to learn, and since Mary doesn't keep our refrigerator stocked with all those steaks and roasts for you to practice on,
Pfft, not on your
I
salary.
the movie we made, and it shows everything I've been talking about. Like to see it?
Hey,
Not really. It feels like we already sat
You
through
finish
it.
your coffee, and I'll get the projector. Okay, all set. Now, everybody ready?
The housewife's natural camouflage allows her to blend in with her surroundings.
Well, here we go.
Crap, Sheriff Bart just rode up to the house. Ugh, this is where I came in.
For centuries, the carving of meat has been a fine art which has been practiced largely by highly trained chefs and a few husbands who have had enough interest and patience to learn the skills. But now, Martha Logan, eminent home economist, has devised a simple method of grouping the most common meats, a method that makes it easy for anyone to learn to carve.
What, ice?
This method
Wood?
of grouping
Don't leave
the
me
various
hanging.
meat cuts is really quite simple. All that is required is an understanding of the similarity between different cuts of meats. For instance, people seldom think of ham and leg of lamb as being anything alike. Yet, methods for carving them are identical. Here, I'll show you.
Someone hand her a
The
katana.
first thing you do is to locate the wedge-shaped bone called the H-bone.
You'll recognize
Here
it by
is
its
on the
T-shape.
leg of lamb, pointing toward the section from which the big horseshoe-shaped slices are cut. And here is the H-bone on the ham.
It's ham from Gallifrey, so it regenerates.
With the shank bone to the right of the carver, first step in carving is to remove several slices from the sides opposite the meaty section. This makes a flat surface for the roast to rest on while carving.
We felt this was important enough to
With the
repeat
fork placed
twice
on
in
the
this
butt end of
film.
the roast to hold it firm, start slicing at the shank end cutting down to the bone with firm strokes. Slices should be at least a 1/4 inch thick.
I got shanked to the bone once. Ah, in every boy's life, there's the 2007 Wizard World Chicago Comic Convention. Now, this is also how you'll carve up a serial killer's leg before serving it to him in a vengeance-driven act of cannibalism.
When the desired number of slices has been cut, hold the knife parallel to the cutting board and cut along the leg bone to free the slices.
Well, Mr. Pig, despite the complications, you'll live. But you'll never walk again. This was supposed to kick it. This was supposed to kick it. This was supposed to kick it to fix my stutter, you quack. Look, I have guests coming over and I forgot to shop, okay? Wow, literally with her eyes closed.
And exactly the same method is used for roast leg of lamb. The standing rib roast of beef is really one of the easiest roasts to carve properly. Ribs to the left of the carver, the fork is inserted between the first and second ribs to hold the roast firmly. 1/4 inch slices are made from the right side of the roast across to the ribs. Remember to let a roast stand 15 minutes to let it firm up. It will carve more easily.
Yeah, you don't want to carve one of those liquid roasts. What a mess. I've never wanted a salad this badly in my life. This whole film is like aversion therapy for vegans.
As each slice is completed, use the tip of the knife to cut along the rib bone and free the slice.
Folks, I got nothing.
As cutting gets further into the roast, the fork should be removed from between the upper ribs and reinserted further down.
And Martha herself carved the roast beast.
In carving steaks, there is one point of paramount importance. After removing the bone, make sure that each part is cut into equal portions, so that each serving will be equal.
Give me a for instance.
For instance,
Thank you.
here is a sirloin steak. With the bone removed, hold the knife blade at an angle and slice the steak into equal portions, about 3/4 inch thick, including as much of the tenderloin as possible with each serving.
All right, Martha, now sell me on meat
As
carving.
long as you remember this, whether serving porterhouse, sirloin, ham steak, or even round steak, everyone at your house will be a happy steak eater.
Except possibly Bessie.
And now to complete our demonstration, I'll show you some of the fine points for the carving job Father loves best. Turkey.
Or as the tragically unhip call it, the gobble gobble bird.
The breast will be to the carver's left. With the tip of the knife, cut the strip of skin holding the legs in place.
Of course, every homemaker knows to have loose strips of skin to bind a turkey's legs
Now,
before cooking.
Press the drumstick out
Or you could
with
use
a
string.
fork or your left hand. Place the knife between the thigh and the body and slash through the skin to the joint.
Woo! Party on, dude!
Keep that outward pressure constant while you're making this cut, and the entire leg will separate from the body.
Or you could just yank it off really hard.
The upper thigh joint will come out so that you can cut it free with your knife. That was easy, wasn't it? So is this next cut, separating the thigh from the drumstick.
It's called slicing, Martha. You're fooling no one.
Angle between the two. Just press the edge of your knife in until you feel the joint. Now for the breast.
Hamana, hamana,
Take your
hamana.
fork, put it firmly into the wing, and press it away from the body. With your knife, make a long cut just above the wing joint, cutting in all the way to the bone. When that cut is made, the breast is ready for carving. Start about halfway up the breast and slice straight down toward that cut above the wing joint. When your knife reaches the cut, the slices will fall free.
That's a wax turkey for set decoration, isn't it?
The feeding slice of white meat is started higher on the breast until the crest of the bone is reached. You'll find with just a little practice, you'll acquire every bit of the skill of the expert. Happy carving and good eating.
Glad I skipped the wrap party, though. Everyone got trichinosis somehow. Exterminate!
What did you think of it?
Boy, she sure makes it look easy.
Now, wait a minute. Don't get the idea that this is one of those pictures just to make things look easy.
Like Wages of Fear?
Well, carving, when you get to know the different groupings, like ham and lamb, chicken and turkey,
Fish and
and all
pineapple.
those different loin roasts, steaks,
Creamed corn.
and pot roasts. Boy, It becomes so easy, you wonder why you didn't think of it yourself.
Hey, why didn't I think about making a film to bore the shit out of my dinner guests?
You, Joe, and Mary are hereby invited to our house Saturday night for dinner.
But not Mickey
Tell me
Hart.
what kind of roast you want to cook?
Are you going to do the carving?
What else?
Gloria, you better play it safe and make a bologna.
Don't listen to them, Harvey. Go do that voodoo that you do so well!
After the way I've ribbed, Joe, I guess I had that coming. So to show you that my heart's in the right place, we will have standing rib roast. Okay?
It really doesn't make any difference.
We're gonna cancel last minute.
Whatever kind of roast you get, you'll find it's easy to learn how to carve it. Now, well, if I can learn how to carve, anyone can learn.
Dallas Jones? That name is way too cool to be associated with this film. Sounds like a blaxploitation PI who spends all day fighting the man, only to come home to his woman and carve the roast she made.